All right, we're still coming to you live from the YMCA court here in Wandega ahead of Game 5 of the National Basketball League playoff semi-final between the City Oilers and Sommet Basketball. That game is on tonight. Remember, it's Game 5, so it's the decider. Whatever way it goes, we must have a winner tonight, and that team is the team that will be joining Blazers in the finals of this season's National Basketball League. Remember, the Sommet Basketball led the series 1-0. City Oilers managed to level the series. City Oilers took the lead 2-1, and Sommet managed to level the series yet again on Wednesday. So tonight is the day. The question remains, will it be Sommet Basketball, or will the 10-time champions again reign supreme and then go to the final? One of the biggest talking points, and as I introduce my guest today, someone who is not really new to your face, I was telling Emanzi that I think I see him way more than I see my family. So Emanzi Ndiamhachi, thank you so much for making the time, of course. But one of the biggest talking points has been this playing surface here. I also saw reports that ahead of Game 4, Kat Curry came through, saw this surface, and he would not believe himself. But how important, and I'm saying important in quotes, considering whoever uses the surface to their advantage, how important or how bad is this surface for basketball?
I feel for players who had really played in much better surfaces, I believe when they reached Lugogo, they must have been shocked and thought this is bad. So I don't know what happened when they got to the YMCA, but it is what we have, and Lugogo is unavailable for this week and I think the next one.
Yeah.
So it's very important. All these teams train outdoor. So I know that I've heard the narratives of this team wants to play indoor and all that, but even City Oilers, who have won the league 10 times, they train outdoor, and apart from a few players, the rest are normal Ugandans, just like the rest of us. They've seen some suffering. So I think the coach should not be an excuse. It's what we have, and both teams will be playing here.
Okay, very understandable for it not to be an excuse, but it's not okay for basketball to be played here.
Of course. First of all, basketball is an indoor sport, so it should be played indoor. But I think we all know the challenges that we have with infrastructure in Uganda, and Lugogo, which does not really meet the minimum standards to host even some FUBA games, is what we have as the best in the country. So that's what we usually go to, but because it is just one facility, you have several federations that are fighting to use it, and it's not available. Most of the series have been played there, so you can't say that the federation has not tried enough to make sure that they have Lugogo available. But I think at some point you will not get it as often as you would want it. So the playing surface is not good, as you can see. I'm sure that even by YMCA standards, this is bad. There are incidents where it has been much better when you look at it, and maybe it needed a bit of working on. I guess the federation did not anticipate that they would be playing some games here, and maybe they would have gotten in touch with the landlord to work on what he's hiring out. But it is what it is.
And I know we have a break in the offing in a few minutes from now. My director will be telling me, but listen, when you look at this surface again and again and again, you want to cry for basketball and the country in general, because it's bad. It's
bad, and not good for the players, first of all. You forget the surface and but what it does to the players, the knees, and this surface is very hard, first of all. Even when it is well done, the surface is hard and not good for players' knees. But like I said, the games must be played. And they are the YMCA. I know that people like Ben Komakech made their names here, playing for power back then. So I don't think it will be a huge challenge. It might... because Chad Bow, I think, had a terrible game in Game 4.
7 points, 1 assist,
7 points, and
0 rebounds.
So it probably had an effect on him. But now they are one game. They have experience of playing a game here, so maybe they will be better in Game 5.
Okay, and like I said, we will have, I think we have a break in the offing, but there is so much to talk about Emanzi, because when you look at how the series unfolded, Sommet taking the lead, City Oilers leveling, and then Oilers leading, and Sommet yet again leveling on Wednesday. You've got to give it up to these two teams, taking us all the way to a Game 5.
Yeah, of course, you look at the other series and it was a sweep, just 3 games, and you're done. You go back to the quarterfinals. Still, most were just sweeps.
Yeah.
I think apart from UCU and Kampala Rockets, you had Oilers sweeping the Jaguars. You had the Blazers sweeping Res Life. So it was really everyone sweeping another. So when you get to the semi-finals and it's a 5-game series, you think that maybe at least we should have something that you can. I mean, everyone wants a decider in every series, regardless of who you support. I think the adrenaline of a game 5 or game 7 in a series is always big. And yeah, I think kudos to Sommet, because first of all, they are here for the first time.
Yeah.
Somehow got into the league because they never really went through the promotion channels. They just bought a spot in the league.
Yeah.
Started playing, had a terrible first round.
Yeah.
Recruited some good players at the start of the second round. You're talking about Peter Cheng, Fataki Nyembo,
yeah,
and Kasereka Tembo. And they've been the difference, for them. If you look at how the team that played in the first round and the one that is playing right now.
2 different teams.
If they met, I think it would be a start of World War III.
There is still so much to talk about that game decider that will be coming up tonight. And that's why Emanzi is here. And that's why we are at the YMCA court here in Wandega. So we will be having a bit more when it does come to that game that is on tonight. It will be tipping off at 7 p.m. here at the YMCA court in Wandega. So we still have a few minutes to talk a little bit more, especially on what the 2 sets of players will be bringing here on the court at exactly 7 p.m. It's a break now, but please do stay with us.
Only 20% of the 12 million students in Africa are able to make it to the job industry.
The various pathways that we should always take some time to look at when it comes to education technology.
Getting these students ready for opportunities after school.
Every company is looking at how do we actually get better? What can you do?
The young people join us.
If we're talking of inclusion and bridging the gaps, what are your services looking into?
Diversifying, learning through various tools in education technology.
We are not here to compete with the formal education.
How are they prepared, like mentally or psychologically, to shift from the old curriculum?
That's why we are coming up with videos.
Join us on NTV, well, at the end of this particular month, September, as we bring you this special edition.
Welcome back. You're still watching NTV Sport. Today we're still coming to you live from the YMCA court in Wandega. I see a couple of students taking their seats. I don't know if it's for the game of basketball that will be tipping off at 7 p.m. because then they will be way too early. But again, I understand because, listen, it is a game 5. These 2 teams started with game 1 up to game 4. The series are leveled at 2-2. So game 5 is on tonight. And so that's why it is a big game for us. And that's why we are here as I continue to speak to Emanzi about the game 5 decider that will be tipping off at exactly 7 p.m. Emanzi, away from the surface, the court, you talk about players like Nyembo Fatachi and Kasereka and Peter Cheng. In this game 5 decider, what is going to be the difference between these 2 teams?
I think the difference in the last 3 games has been the fourth quarter, because you look at games that Sommet have dominated until the fourth quarter, that is game 2 and game 3, and then City Oilers somehow get into rhythm, and because of their experience they get over the line. I think it was a bit different in game 4 because I think that Sommet did not start Cheng. Cheng started on the bench. Teko started on the bench. They made some adjustments in their lineup.
You clearly would see that the fourth quarter is in their mind.
Yeah. So you had Daniel Ojoro starting. You had Mark Ngovi starting. Yeah. And you would say that you look at how they played in the fourth quarter, and they were really big. They made some big plays, even when City Oilers tried to get back into the game, because at some point they cut it to 2 points. It was a close game.
Yeah, it was 20-20, end of the first quarter, 44-44 at halftime.
Yeah. So it is in the second half that Sommet started to break away. Yeah. And every time Oilers tried to get back into the game, there was a big play from one of the players, whether it was Nyembo, whether it was Cheng, or Tembo, Kasereka. And I thought they did very well in the fourth quarter. They put a lot of pressure on the ball. I thought Mark Ngovi played well. Defensively, he managed to handle Fayed Bale, who
scoring on
had
the other
started
side,
very
20
well.
points for him.
Yeah, and he scored 20 points. So it's very easy to look at the 20 points and forget the work that he did defensively. So I think they had some adjustments that they made, and they worked out for them. So it's again going to be largely about the fourth quarter and how Sommet finish off, because you look at City Oilers and you know that at this point, you cannot even say that they have a better team than Sommet. If they do, we have not seen it, because Sommet have been dominant in most of the games, and it's really been City Oilers stealing the game in the fourth quarter. And so you cannot entirely say. I think the best player is in Sommet. That is Nyembo Fataki. And they can ride on that. If they can manage their fouls and make sure that their players stay on the floor for long periods, I think they have a good unit that can trouble Oilers. The only way that I would stand here and say Oilers will win the series is by looking at what they've done in the last 10 seasons. It's as simple as that.
And that's why I was going, because you look at the fact that they're 10-time champions, that tells you an entire story. You look at the manner in which they went through the season, finally sneaking into the playoffs. You look at the manner in which they went through the quarterfinals, they're in the semifinals still battling. So clearly, you still see that the fact that they're 10-time champions comes out quite clearly every other day.
So much. I remember in 2015, the Oilers were down 2-0 against UCU, and they were about to get swept in the semi-finals. And they came back to win the next 3 games of the series, and went on to sweep Power in the finals. So they won 7 games.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. So, and I remember talking to Jeff Omondi, one of their players back then, and he said, if you have a chance to kill off a team, make sure you do it, because the more, especially a good team, the moment you give them a chance to have a look in, then it might not be good. And that's what happened, because they were on the verge of elimination, and they went on to win 7 games in a row and win the championship. So Sommet had a chance by winning game 1. I cannot blame them. They are here for the first time, and you can see they are not as deep as even the Oilers team that we say is depleted. Sommet is not as deep as Oilers. So I think Sommet have, they would easily go home and say we have achieved. We have made it to the semi-finals by being here for the first time.
And taken the champion to the game 5.
Yeah, taking the champion to game 5. But they have a very good chance. And like I said, if it is not for Oilers, I go back to game 3 and I see how Ben Komakech came up big in the fourth quarter. Hit 2 3-pointers that really decided the game, and the rest is history. So they need something like that to go their way. That is City Oilers, if they are going to get past this Sommet team. Otherwise,
Emanzi, as we wrap this one up, we wrap this one up, let's not forget, the 10-time champion, commonly known as the dictator, is on the verge, just on the verge of not making it for the finals. If that happens, how big a story will that be as we conclude?
It will be big. I would want their story to end in the finals. Because I think if you look at the rivalry that they have created with the Blazers, and others, I think it is only right, and would serve the Blazers right if they get City Oilers and beat them. If it means sweeping them in the finals, and maybe you win the championship. But I also have a thought that if you're going to stop this team, maybe it ends here. You make sure they do not get to the final.
It's a different story
Anything
altogether.
could happen in the
Thank you,
finals.
Emanzi. Thank you very much for making the time. Emanzi Ndiamhachi is a writer with the Daily Monitor, panelist on NTV Sport Nights, and he managed to give us a very, very good perspective of what we should expect in a Game 5 that is on tonight. Remember, it is City Oilers up against Sommet in Game 5, which is a decider of the National Basketball League semi-finals. The question is, will it be Sommet or the City Oilers that will be joining Blazers in the final of the National Basketball League? Coming to you live from the YMCA court in Wandega, this is going to be the place where the action will be happening starting at 7 p.m. This center here is where that first whistle is going to go, and then the action will be happening as a way to see who else joins the Blazers in the final of the National Basketball League. Thank you all so much for being a part of today's edition of NTV Sport Today. Entire crew behind the scenes, we do say thank you and have yourselves a fantastic weekend.